Shalom to the elect. All right, this is your brother Samak with another lesson. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles that told us the truth. And again, salutations to the brothers doing this work of truth and sincerity. And a few sisters listening and learning. Ultimately, those are the elect. All right, so coming with an entrance and impromptu, man. I just want to kind of go into, the foolishness of these wacky tacky Christians, as they call them, man. And why, as the more seasoned you become in the truth, all right, you ought to avoid foolishness. Now, when we are out and we're on the line, we ought to defend the gospel, right? Because we are in a position of teaching, right? That's our situation. That's our position. All right, so that's the place that we're in, teaching, right? So we ought to teach, we ought to edify, we ought to rebuke, we ought to correct. So, when it comes to being out on the highways and the hedges, out on the line, then, you defend the gospel, you contest, if you will, with these Christians, specifically those of our nation, right? Because obviously, the heathen Christians, if you perceive them to be heathen, it really doesn't matter. But when you're talking to Jake and they're stuck in Christianity, all right, it's a lot of foolishness that comes out their mouth. It's a lot of hoopla, right? A lot of I feel, I think, not even just comes from a place of thought that is backed by knowledge. Just I feel, my perception, my take, my relationship with God. Like, you don't have a personal relationship with God, man. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Right? And the more seasoned we become in the truth, it behooves us to not entertain folly, all right, and foolish questions, and you can see through it, man. These people are unlearned, unskilled. They don't have the general comprehension skills that it takes to be a scholar of this word, right? They don't ask the right questions. All right? The word goes in one ear and out the other, all right? And they don't believe in the Bible. They believe in Christianity. Very simple. All right. So, for you brothers and you sisters out there, if you're dealing with, Christians in your everyday walk, especially those of your family, and this is how you kind of want to set up the conversation, right? Whenever you get into a situation where your belief in the Bible is the topic of discussion, right? Because it can happen, it will happen, and it will happen a lot. Especially what I've noticed, a lot of sisters, right? A lot of women that when they're in this truth, right, they get bugged more than anything, especially when their man is the one in this truth, especially if their man is the one that was what led them to the truth. You're going to be the one that's played. Why? Because Satan understands that you're the weaker vessel, and because you're the weaker vessel, he's going to play on your emotions. He's going to play on your family and your friends, and they're going to come at you and they're going to question you. And although you sisters may not be fully immersed in the breakdowns, and you might not have the full comprehension and understanding of the word as the brothers that are teachers, and that's okay, because you're led by your man. You have what's necessary for salvation. You have what's necessary for correction and to walk in righteousness, right? But you don't need to go into the deep, dark sayings, and you don't need to teach, all right? So basically, the simplest way to set up any discussion with a Christian is that, okay, you ask them a couple questions. All right, so you're Christian. Okay, cool. You believe in the Bible in its entirety? Yes. They'll say yes. You ask them, okay. Do you believe that the Bible contradicts itself? They'll say no. And you say, okay. And then a handful of scriptures. You'll bring out a handful of scriptures that pertain to Israel only, and they'll continue to bring out their own feelings, and maybe John 3:16, or maybe they'll bring out Paul, and then now you confound them, like, oh, but hold up, I thought that you said that the Bible doesn't contradict itself and you believe in the Bible in its entirety. But if I just read you 4 scriptures where out of the man you call Jesus Christ's mouth himself states that he only is for Israel and not for the heathen and not for these people, how are you going to sit here and refute that? And that's how you confound Christians. All right, that's how you confound Christians and catch them in their folly, man. And after a while, when you become seasoned and you become learned, you start to see through the bullshit, man. You start to see through the folly. And you're not swept up by the gimmicks that these people play. When you first came into the truth, they're going to play on a lot of things. They're going to question you. They're going to test you. They're going to throw stumbling blocks your way. All right, and you have to be capable, and you have to be able, right? Which capable, able is the same thing. You have to be capable enough to stand your ground, right? And essentially, when you're not in a position of teaching, and especially to people that you've already discussed this truth with on multiple occasions, all right, you don't have to entertain that, right? Because the scripture saying Proverbs, all right, it says, I always forget, I think it's like 24 and maybe verse 19. It says, or 26 and 26, I want to say 26 and 26. It says answer not a fool according to his folly, all right, lest thou be a fool like unto him, roughly paraphrasing. All right, when you start to indulge in folly, you'll notice that a lot of these Christians they establish their own righteousness, and I see it every single day, and it's very vexing, man. It's very vexing. It's hard. It's easy to lose patience. It's easy to lose patience, man, dealing with these people, man. Especially when you tell them the same thing over and over and over and over again. Right? You know, they establish their own righteousness. All right, they don't come from a place of knowledge, of understanding. All right, they have no foundation. All right, their whole doctrine and premise is based on the belief that Yahushai, who is his real name, all right, but I'm gonna say their Messiah, whom they call Christ, just died for their sins, and they can do whatever they want as long as they accept and believe him in their heart. That's it. But then at the same time, they go ahead, they say the law is done away with, right? You don't have to keep the law, and they'll utilize many scriptures that they don't understand, that don't even say the law is done away with, to justify them and their wickedness, right? You know, celebrating these pagan holidays, not celebrating any of the holy days of the scriptures, eating all manner of abominable foods, right? And many other things, right? But when you talk about, but then at the same time, they'll go ahead to establish their own righteousness, as the scriptures say. They have a zeal according to knowledge, a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. And they establish their own righteousness after their own hearts, right? You know, you'll have Christians who they'll judge you for being in a relationship, right, with somebody and living together without being quote unquote married, which in their eyes means married on paper. Christians could care less. They couldn't care less if you had a whole ceremony, right? Which the ceremony is like, and if anything, the ceremony of getting married, where you have a bishop or a pastor that you say vows before the Most High and these different things, which is, if anything, that's the real marriage. That's the real covenant, right? That's the covenant. And then the marriage itself is the sex portion, which seals the flesh, right? Consummates the marriage, right? The joining it together. They don't even care if you don't even have to do the ceremony. But if y'all go down to the courthouse and y'all sign a piece of paper and y'all legally become married with the state or whatever, or with the country, whatever, however it works, I don't fucking know, because I don't dabble in that. But you go down to the city hall and you sign the paper to legally become married together. Y'all don't have to exchange no vows or nothing. Y'all don't have to go before God or anything, and the Christians will accept that. But they won't accept two people who are of like mind who call upon the Lord and have said vows to themselves before the Most High and decided to be married and consider themselves married before God. They don't want to accept that though. But that goes to show you the folly and bullshit in these Christians, man. And these people who claim to believe in God. They claim to follow the Bible. They claim to believe in the Bible. So at this point in the game, if there's a Christian or so-called Christian in your family or circle that you've told and shown these scriptures more than once, don't even entertain them, man. Don't even, because it's never going to get anywhere. If they continually justify their beliefs with their feelings and not with scripture, and they can't receive the scripture, if you bring out scriptures that clearly say 1 + 1 is 2, but they keep trying to tell you that it's 3, you're wasting your time, man. The Most High is not dealing with them. The Spirit of the Lord is not dealing with them. So it will behoove you to move on and focus on your own salvation, especially to you that are not teachers. But to you men that are teachers, listen, when you in your day-to-day walk, use wisdom and use wisdom and discernment. Be circumspect. But when you out on the line, by all means, we're literally putting this truth on front for everybody to get it, to receive it. All right, we're literally, it's an open house, if you will, right? If you have a membership-based gym where you have to have a membership in order to use the facilities, sometimes gyms have what's called an open house, which is you don't have to be a member of the gym to use the facilities. All right, that's what camp is. All right, it's open gym. It's open for everybody to receive it. But then on your day-to-day walk, at that point, it's about what you're doing, how you're moving. And if a conversation sparks and, you test the spirit and is worthy enough to receive it, then you give it freely. But if you already know it's going to be contention and strife and confusion, don't even waste your time, especially in the workplace. All right. So I just wanted to give that a little, go into that a little bit, if it's exhorting or edifying to you brothers and sisters. I pray that the Most High did edify you. It just was on my spirit. I wanted to put it out there. So Lord willing, again, this was edifying. Until next time, shalom.